She entered Daniel's office like she always did. But this time, she didn't come to visit. She came to steal. Vanessa went straight to the vault, opened the hidden latch, and began grabbing confidential documents. She didn't hear the door creak open. She didn't see the old woman walk in. Until, what are you doing? Vanessa froze. Standing at the door, mop in hand, was Madame Grace, the hotel cleaner. I was just, she stammered. Grace stepped closer. You day steal. This is how you treat the man who loved you. Vanessa hissed. Who are you to question me? Just a cleaner. But Grace didn't back down. She walked out and shouted, Security! Somebody come! She day steal. But what Vanessa didn't know was that this moment would change everything. Sit tight, because what you're about to witness isn't just a story. It's betrayal, it's love, and a twist you'll never forget. Daniel stood at the grand window of his top-floor office, overlooking the vibrant city of Lagos. As CEO of Magnate Hotel, one of the most luxurious chains in the country, Daniel had built his empire through hard work, long nights, and relentless focus. At just 32, he was already a billionaire, respected, envied, and admired by all. Yet, behind the suits and success, Daniel lived a lonely life. He had no time for love. Women flocked to him like bees to honey, but he wasn't interested. Most were after his name, his money, or the clout that came with being the girlfriend of the magnate hotel boss. And Daniel had no patience for that. All that changed one Saturday evening. He had only attended his close friend Cunnell's wedding to show support. He wasn't in the mood for socializing. But as the music played and guests danced, Daniel's eyes fell on a young woman seated alone at the edge of the reception hall. She wore a simple peach gown that hugged her curves tastefully. Her beauty was striking, but it was the quiet confidence in her eyes that drew him in. He asked Cunnell, Who's that lady sitting near the cake table? Cunnell smiled. That's Vanessa. She's a friend of my wife. Fashion designer, I think. Very private, very pretty too. Without another word, Daniel walked over. Hi, he said smoothly. I'm Daniel. She looked up, and for a moment, her eyes widened with recognition. Almost everyone in Lagos knew his name. But instead of gushing or throwing herself at him like others did, she simply said, Vanessa. Nice to meet you. That was it. A spark lit in Daniel's chest. They talked for an hour that evening, not about wealth or fame, but about books, music, and random things like her dream to travel to Italy. She didn't ask for anything. She didn't try to impress him. That night, they exchanged numbers. Within weeks, they became inseparable. Daniel found himself doing things he hadn't done in years, sending morning texts, planning surprise dinners, taking weekend drives just to hear her laugh. He surprised her with expensive gifts, designer bags, luxury shoes, even a small car. And Vanessa soaked it all in with smiles and kisses. But something kept tugging at Daniel's mind. One evening, as they sat on his balcony overlooking the ocean, Daniel asked gently, Vanessa, what do you really love doing? I mean, if I opened a business for you, what kind would you want? She laughed. Business? Why would I want to stress myself when my man is a billionaire? Daniel, my job is to be beautiful for you, nah. Abby, you want me to be carrying files around in the hot sun. Daniel chuckled softly, but it didn't sit right with him. He respected hard-working people. His late father had started as a security guard in a hotel. His mother, now living in London, used to sell akara by the roadside just to support them. So Daniel, though rich, valued effort. As the weeks passed, Daniel began to notice more signs. Vanessa didn't know how to cook even the simplest meal. She refused to clean up after herself, insisting the housekeepers would do it. She spent money like water, flaunting everything he gave her on social media. And the more he watched, the more he realized, she wasn't with him for love. She was with him for lifestyle. Daniel pulled back, fewer calls, fewer gifts. And Vanessa noticed. One day, she stormed into his house, angry. What's wrong with you lately? Are you seeing someone else? Daniel sighed. No, Vanessa. I'm just thinking. Thinking about what? All I've done is love you. Is it a crime to enjoy what my man gives me? Daniel stared at her. Is it also a crime to want a woman who can build something with me? That was the beginning of the tension between them. While their relationship hung by a thread, something unexpected happened. On a bright Monday morning, a tired-looking elderly woman walked up to the gates of Magnate Hotel. She wore a faded Ankara dress and held a black nylon bag. She looked like someone's grandmother, certainly not someone you'd expect at a luxury hotel. "I saw the signboard," she said to the security guard. "You people are hiring cleaners. I want to apply." The guard scoffed. "Mama, this is not one roadside motel. This place is 5-star. We don't hire old people here. Beg, go home." "I may be old," she replied firmly, "but I can work. I no day tire easily." As the argument grew heated, Daniel drove into the compound. He saw the scene and parked. "What's going on?" he asked. The woman turned to him. "Good morning, sir. I'm looking for a job. I can clean, I can sweep, I can mop." Daniel looked at her. Something about her tone reminded him of his mother, determined and proud. "Don't worry, Ma," he said. "You've got the job." The woman beamed. "God bless you, my son. My name is Grace." "Welcome, Madam Grace," he smiled. And just like that, the old woman began work as a cleaner in one of the most prestigious hotels in Lagos. Little did anyone know, not the staff, not Vanessa, that Madam Grace wasn't just a cleaner. She was Daniel's mother. And this was only the beginning of her secret mission. Madam Grace moved quietly through the Magnate Hotel halls with a mop in one hand and a bucket in the other. To the average eye, she was just another cleaner trying to earn a living. But to Daniel, she was more than that. She was his mother, back from London on a secret mission. Daniel had called her weeks earlier. "Mummy, I need your help," he said over the phone. "I think the woman I'm dating isn't who she pretends to be. I need to know if it's real, or if it's just about my money." "What do you want me to do?" she asked. "I want you to come to Lagos," Daniel said. "Not as my mother. As someone else. Disguise yourself. Be among the staff. Watch. Observe. Tell me what you see that I can't." She had agreed immediately. Grace had raised Daniel with strong values. She knew the dangers of falling for a pretty face without substance. So she left the comfort of her London home, returned to Nigeria, and disguised herself as a cleaner. No makeup, no jewelry, no fancy clothes. Just an old woman with tired eyes and a strong spirit. The staff loved her instantly. "Auntie Grace, you day always smile," one of the cooks told her. "Even this morning when the mop fell on your leg, you still day laugh." Grace would smile and say, "Wetin person go do? Life no too hard if you carry am with joy." She earned everyone's respect, not because of her job, but because of her kindness. She listened when others talked, shared simple advice when needed, and worked without complaining. Every afternoon, instead of eating at the staff canteen, Grace would stroll down the street to a small food kiosk. The vendor there, a young woman named Kate, sold hot jollof rice, fried plantain, and pepper soup under a yellow umbrella. "Good afternoon, Mama," Kate would greet with a warm smile. "Good afternoon, my daughter. How market today?" "E-day move small. Sit down, let me serve you." Kate reminded Madam Grace of herself in her younger days, hard-working, respectful, and focused. Even when customers insulted her or bargained too hard, Kate smiled and kept her cool. Sometimes, Grace would stay after eating, just to talk with her. "You no go marry?" Grace asked her one day. Kate laughed. "Marriage no day hungry me for now. I want build something first. Maybe one day, God go bring better man." Grace nodded silently. Better woman, too, she thought. Meanwhile, back in the hotel, Daniel and Vanessa's relationship was crumbling. Vanessa grew impatient. "Daniel, are we even dating anymore? You barely pick my calls." Daniel stared at her. "You've changed." "No, you've changed," she snapped. "Is it a crime to enjoy my man's money? Or is it because I said I don't want to suffer like other women?" "You don't want to suffer, Vanessa, but do you want to build anything? Do you have any dream? Any plan?" "I dream of luxury," she said, flipping her hair. "And I thought you loved me enough to give me that." Daniel sighed deeply. There was nothing more to say. Vanessa, sensing the end, began planning. She had one goal: secure Daniel's wealth before he cut her off completely. She knew Daniel was protective of his business documents and kept them locked away in a private safe inside his office at the hotel. If she could get them, she'd have leverage. A week later, Vanessa showed up at Magnate Hotel, pretending to surprise him. "Good afternoon," she said sweetly to the receptionist. "Is Daniel around?" "No, Ma. He went out for a meeting." "Oh, I'll just wait for him in his office." The staff didn't argue. Everyone knew she was his girlfriend. Vanessa made her way to the executive floor. She entered his office like she'd done many times before. But this time, her eyes went straight to the cabinet in the corner, the one that hid the vault. She walked over, pulled the hidden latch, and began to dig through papers. She didn't notice the sound of the door creaking open behind her. She didn't even hear the quiet steps until... On, a familiar voice said sharply. "What are you doing?" Vanessa froze. She turned around slowly, and there stood Madame Grace, her cleaning bucket in hand, staring directly at her. I was just," Vanessa stammered, trying to hide the documents. "You day steal." Madame Grace's voice rose. "Inside this hotel? This is how you repay the man who loved you." Vanessa's mask slipped. "Who do you think you are? A cleaner? What do you know? Get out of my way before I call security." Grace didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped out into the hallway and shouted, "Security! Somebody come here. She day steal." Within seconds, hotel staff rushed in. Vanessa tried to explain, to lie, to cry. But it was too late. Daniel arrived moments later. He walked into the chaos, looked from Vanessa to his mother, and knew. Vanessa was arrested that evening. She screamed and cursed as she was dragged away, but Daniel said nothing. Only when the lobby was quiet again did Madame Grace remove her hairnet and say softly, "I told you I would come when you needed me." Daniel smiled sadly. "Thank you, Mum. You saved me from a lifetime mistake." But Madame Grace wasn't finished yet. She touched his arm gently. "There's one more person I think you should meet again. Her name is Kate." Daniel looked confused. "Kate. She sells food down the street. You'll see what I saw. She's different." The sun blazed softly as Daniel stepped out of his car near the roadside canteen his mother had spoken so fondly of. The smell of sizzling plantain, stew, and smoked fish filled the air. He looked around, unsure which of the small stalls was Kate's, until he spotted her, the woman behind a steaming pot, wearing a clean apron, her hair tied neatly in a scarf, wiping sweat from her brow as she smiled at a customer. That must be her. She didn't notice him at first. She was busy serving food and greeting people like she'd known them for years. When their eyes finally met, she paused. "Good afternoon," Daniel said, stepping closer. "You're Kate, right?" She blinked. "Yes, wait. You're Daniel, the hotel owner." Daniel smiled. "Yes. I'm also Madame Grace's son." Kate's eyes widened. She took off her gloves quickly and wiped her hand on her apron. Sorry, I didn't know. Please sit. Would you like something to eat?" He sat on the nearby bench. "Anything you recommend?" Kate turned to her pots like it was just another regular day. No fuss, no exaggerated respect. She didn't take selfies. She didn't ask how much he was worth. Instead, she served him a plate of jollof rice, plantain, and peppered turkey. When she placed it before him, she smiled. "I hope it tastes as good as it smells." Daniel took a bite, and paused. It was delicious. Not just fancy restaurant delicious, it was home. Spiced right, warm, and cooked with care. "You made this yourself?" he asked. "Every day," Kate replied. "I don't trust anyone else with my recipes. My customers would chase me if I slack." They both laughed. For the next half hour, they talked. Not about money. Not about social media. Not about fame. They talked about life. About how she lost her parents early and had to hustle to survive. About how she saved every naira to start her food business. About how, sometimes, she cried at night but smiled during the day because joy is a choice. Daniel listened. And for the first time in a long while, he felt something real. Over the next few days, Daniel found reasons to pass by Kate's canteen. Sometimes to eat. Sometimes just to sit and talk. He didn't tell her he was visiting because of his mother. He wanted to know her for himself. The more they spoke, the more he admired her strength, her independence, her quiet joy. One afternoon, Kate asked, "Hope you don't mind me asking, but what happened with that lady, the one who used to come to your hotel?" Daniel was quiet for a moment. "Vanessa. She showed me who she really was. And it wasn't what I wanted." Kate nodded slowly. "Heartbreak is hard. But it teaches you who deserves to be close." Daniel looked at her. "Do you believe in second chances? In meeting someone after disappointment and still believing in love?" Kate smiled gently. "I believe God brings people at the right time. Even if the first ones break you, the right one will rebuild you." That night, Daniel told his mother everything. "I think I've found what I was looking for," he said. Grace smiled knowingly. "I saw it from the beginning. She's not after your money, Daniel. She's already rich, in character." "But Mum," Daniel said slowly, "how do I know she feels the same? What if she finds out who I really am and changes?" Grace touched his hand. "Then let her find out slowly. And if she loves you, not your status, she won't run." A week later, Daniel invited Kate to dinner. Not at the hotel. Not at a fancy restaurant. Just a quiet beachside spot he'd rented privately. Kate showed up in a simple floral gown, hair tied back neatly. Daniel wore a clean shirt and jeans. No flashy watches. No designer chains. Just a man and a woman, trying to connect. As they ate grilled fish and sipped drinks, Daniel opened up. "I didn't tell you everything the first day we met. But I think you deserve the truth." Kate looked curious. "I'm not just the hotel owner. I'm the CEO of the Magnate Group. It's more than hotels. There's real estate, airlines, media." Kate blinked but said nothing. "I wanted you to meet me as a man first, not a billionaire. Because I've been used before." Kate was quiet for a long moment. Then she leaned forward. "Daniel, I won't lie and say I'm not surprised. But your money doesn't impress me. Your honesty does. You've always treated me like a person, not a project. That means more than anything." Daniel exhaled, relieved. They walked along the beach that night. No paparazzi. No flashing lights. Just two souls, slowly falling for each other. Weeks passed. Daniel officially introduced Kate to his staff, not as a girlfriend, but as someone dear to him. The employees welcomed her with joy. Even the receptionist who once helped Vanessa smiled and said, "Sir, this one get better spirit oh." Daniel also helped Kate expand her canteen into a mini eatery, but only on one condition: she would run it completely on her own. Kate agreed. Madame Grace visited the eatery often, proudly watching her future daughter-in-law handle customers with ease and cook with love. One day, as Kate brought her a hot plate of yam porridge, Madame Grace whispered, "You remind me of myself when I met Daniel's father." Kate blushed. "I only hope I make you proud." "You already have." The Magnate Hotel ballroom shimmered under golden lights. Rows of elegant white chairs lined the room, draped with soft fabric and fresh flowers. The aroma of jollof rice and grilled chicken floated from the kitchen, and soft live music played in the background. But today, it wasn't a business meeting or a luxury event. It was a celebration of love. Daniel stood at the far end of the hall, dressed in a navy blue agbada with subtle gold embroidery. He looked calm, proud, and more fulfilled than ever. His eyes scanned the hall. It was full of friends, business partners, hotel staff, and even neighborhood faces. Everyone had come for one reason: to celebrate his engagement to Kate. Just a few months ago, he had almost given his heart to the wrong woman. But that storm had passed. And now, he was about to walk into the next chapter of his life, not with someone who loved his money, but with someone who had loved his soul before she even knew his title. The crowd rose as the music changed. Kate entered the room, radiant in a rich emerald green lace gown. Her hair was styled in a soft bun, her jewelry simple, her smile wide and sincere. Beside her stood Madame Grace, holding her hand with pride. Everyone clapped. Even a few of the hotel staff wiped tears from their eyes. Kate walked toward Daniel slowly, and when they finally stood together at the front, he leaned close and whispered, "You look even more beautiful than the first time I saw you." "And you," she replied, "still haven't finished paying for all the plantain you owe me." They both laughed softly. After the short engagement ceremony, guests began to eat and mingle. Daniel walked around with Kate, introducing her to his business associates, not as my girlfriend or my plus one, but as the woman who holds my heart. If you love the story, like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you.